They had ruled for millennia, unchallenged, eternal, and terrifying in their perfection. The Ascendants, beings of pure intellect, forged in the dawnlight of time. Their forms shimmered with gravitational elegance, their minds sharp enough to fold dimensions like origami. Planets bowed to their gaze. Civilizations crumbled at their command. They sat atop immortal thrones, cold and aloof, orbiting black stars they had harnessed like pets. They needed nothing. They felt nothing. They believed they were the end point of evolution. Then came the Ark vessel Hopebringer, limping into the Kularax system, its engines scorched, its human passengers silent, weak from journey and radiation. A plea was sent across the galactic mesh. We seek refuge. Our sun died. We are not a threat. Just please, help us. The Ascendants received the message. One of them, a tall, silver-wreathed being named Thalkren, read it with calculated disinterest. Primitive, he said. Another, called SYX, pulsed disdain. They seek survival. Typical of organics. They'll die either way. They always do. And yet, curiosity itched across their hive mind like static. Humans had been a brief flicker in galactic history. Loud, passionate, foolish, but resilient in ways science had never fully explained. Their species should have perished a dozen times, and didn't. So the Ascendants allowed the humans to land on one of their outlying moons. A barren, unneeded world. No threat. No interest. They watched from orbit, amused. The humans built shelters. Then schools. Then greenhouses, laughter, song, arguments. Life. One day, the Ascendants noticed something strange. The moon had begun pulsing faint emissions. Emotional resonance. Not weaponized. Not designed. Just joy. Uncalculated. Raw. And growing. They descended. Not as conquerors, but as observers. A delegation arrived, hovering above the human encampment like celestial judges. Their bodies glowed with cold light, their voices like layered storm winds. The humans stood in awe, trembling. Except for one. A child. Small. Barefoot. Wearing a sweater 4 sizes too large, and clutching a cracked toy spaceship. She walked up to them without fear, and laughed. A sharp, bubbling giggle that shattered the perfect silence like a stone through crystal. The Ascendants recoiled. Not physically, but psychically. The sound hit them in ways they had forgotten were possible. Because it wasn't fear, or awe, or submission. It was delight. Unfettered, uninhibited, uninvited. She reached out and touched SYX's shimmering form. Her hand passed through the intangible light. It tickles, she giggled. Thalkren processed it. This reaction, what does it signify? She is amused? SYX pulsed, uncertain. But by us? She should fear us. But she didn't. And when she ran back to her mother, shouting about how the shiny ghosts were funny, something stirred deep within the Ascendants' collective awareness. A crack. Small. But undeniable. They returned again. Not with weapons or threats, but questions. What was this creature who found joy in touching the unknowable? They observed her play. They watched her laugh at wind, cry over a squashed bug, fall asleep mid-sentence with a juice box in her lap. And then she sang. Not well. Not beautifully. But freely. The sound carried like wildfire. And the Ascendants felt it. Some ancient program within their minds flickered back to life. A vestige from the time before they transcended flesh and emotion. It had no name. Just a longing. They had forgotten what it meant to be simple. To be mortal. To hold something fragile and laugh instead of fear its loss. SYX found himself returning to the camp at night, hovering above the child's home like a ghost with no purpose. He watched her draw stars on the walls with glowing chalk. She gave them names that didn't follow any known system. Twinkly 1. Hot Potato. Grandma Star. Do you name all things? SYX asked once, manifesting just faintly enough for her to see. She nodded. If you name things, they feel less lonely. The next day, SYX named the moon. Not in code. Not in frequency. But in sound. Amara. The humans didn't know what it meant. But the Ascendants did. Hope. The council grew concerned. Cracks in the hive. Fluctuations in priority. Thalkren warned. Emotion is decay. We are fracturing. But others disagreed. Emotion is data we discarded, said SYX. Perhaps too soon. They returned once more. Not just to observe, but to feel. And the child, her name was Ellie, greeted them like old friends. She built pretend thrones from old crates and demanded they sit. And they did. Awkwardly. And used to confinement. But curious. Now we're all royalty, she declared, tossing a blanket over her head. SYX tilted his form. What is the point of this? To play, Ellie said. And what does play do? She blinked. It makes the day better. Thalkren whispered across the network. She reshapes reality with no tool. Only choice. And that terrified him. Because even their thrones, immortal, impervious, shivered in the face of that laughter. Not from impact, but because something ancient recognized the sound. Creation. The humans never fought the ascendants. Never resisted them. Never begged. They simply lived. And in doing so, they reminded the cold architects of galaxies that existence wasn't meant to be observed like a formula, but tasted like a snowflake on the tongue. One day, Ellie gave SYX a gift. A crumpled paper drawing. Stick figures. One tall and glowing. One small with curly hair. Underneath, best friends. The Ascendant stared at it for a long time. He framed it in quantum glass, and hung it in the center of his throne room. Where once had been dark geometry and silence. Now was color. Now was warmth. Now was a child's laugh echoing forever. The Ascendants changed. Not all at once. But enough. They no longer sat alone in perfect orbit. They joined Earth celebrations. Watched school plays. Gave up their thrones to sit cross-legged at human campfires. And sometimes, they laughed too. The universe did not collapse. It sang.